Hello everyone, this is the For Honor Iceberg. Here lies not only some of the most ancient forgotten knowledge in the community, but also some information that would probably be better left on Earth. But if you still wish to proceed, I won't stop you. Layer 1. These are things that virtually everyone in the For Honor community knows about. Tribute. A joke game mode because nobody plays or cares about it. Something fun you can do is if you have a couple of friends, you can collectively queue for tribute and most likely you'll be matched against each other because you're the only ones on the planet searching for a tribute match. Ubisoft servers. They're ass, but they were more ass than they are now. In fact, way worse. When this game came out, it didn't even have dedicated servers. But issues like disconnects or end of the match rewards simply not being given to players are still not that rare of an occurrence. Day 1 For Honor. It was complete chaos, with insane damage values, crazy character builds and abilities, 700 MS light attacks depending on the character, and to top it all off, the lack of dedicated servers. This led to one of the biggest downfalls in all of gaming history, and lots of people to this day only know this game due to this fact alone. If you wish to see how some of the old characters used to play, along with their damage values, you can go to story mode and try them out. Monkey Brain. When Griffin came out, he was really easy to play and dealt really high damage. He wasn't nearly as broken as other Day 1 DLC heroes, but Zanny made a video about it, so Monkey Brain kinda stuck to Griffin, even years later after he got balanced. Minion kill animations. Back then, there used to be these unique animations that would play whenever you killed minions. You can still see them again on the story mode, but they were removed because they ended up feeling buggy, unbalanced, usually very slow, and required more work on the animators, obviously. Old Shinobi. If there's an old character that people remember, it's Shinobi, because he was the only ranged character to ever exist in this game, the only exception being modern day Shaolin when he's dodge attacking. But even though this sparked a lot of problems, I feel like outright removing this ability was a mistake, and perhaps a middle ground could have been found somewhere. The CCU. In the year of 2020, around the time of Warmonger's release, this game's combat was revamped in general. Attacks became faster, damage values standardized and lower, along with stamina consumption values, frame data, and more. The community was split on this change at the time, but nowadays any regular player that is good at the game will agree that this was in fact a good update. Layer 2. Info that is known to every dedicated player or veteran of the game. Spartan and Kestis Hero. These are by far the most currently desired characters to be added to the game, and if you're living in the future you might have them already. Lucky you. The old gear system. Back before Marching Fire, perks didn't really exist. Armor and weapons gave you a variety of stats like damage and stamina, but also some funny ones like throw distance and revenge gain. Honestly, even though this feature was extremely imbalanced, the build making aspect that it added to the game looked very fun. The first tournament. The first major tournament, where I believe about $10,000 were on the line, ended up being won by a Nobushi Unlock Zone Tekking, which was extremely funny but also goes to show the state of the game back then. Day 1 DLC heroes. Centurion's infinite cutscene, Corruption working on minions, Hitokiri's tier 1 granting a permanent 70% damage resistance upon execution, or even Black Prior being able to flip feats. These are some examples of DLC heroes being broken on Day 1, and people complain about Day 1 Pirate and Ocelotl, but compared to the old ones, these guys are nothing. Test Your Mettle. A beloved game mode where you'd fight popular figures from the story mode as NPCs, and got some really cool rewards out of it. May the 4th. A Star Wars event which for its duration made your weapons appear as lightsabers and had its sound effects get replaced as well. Everyone loved this game mode, and it's a shame that it's not happening anymore. The Ghost of Kazan Castle. An officer that sometimes appears on the Breach Samurai map of Kazan Castle. He's been there since the dawn of time, and just kinda stands there and is also immortal. Old Guard memes. Memes and usually YouTube poops made back in 2017 to 2019, joking about For Honor's story and its memorable characters, and truthfully, they still slap. This section also includes memorable voice lines or emote spams that are still very popular and known to this day. Larry. Larry is the warden from the executions menu. He's been mentioned a couple times in Warrior Dens, and more recently on the Year 9 trailer, further boosting its popularity. Layer 3. Events or happenings that were pretty popular at the time, but nobody talks about anymore. 4Edit's drama. 4Edits used to be a shorts YouTuber that got a lot of cheating allegations, and whether you believe that story or not is up to you, but he ended up leaving the platform because of that. The mythical JC fumble. Once upon a time, while demonstrating a character's moveset, JC failed to parry a heavy attack several times in a row. Which, you know, happens to everyone, but it's still funny. Hands-off execution. This is how it used to look, and this is how it looks now. Lane. Warden one-shot. For a while there used to be this bug where if you guard-broke someone as a warden, you'd be able to play the drop attack animation, which would result in the enemy getting drop attack from a simple guard break. I'm pretty sure this got patched, then came back, then got patched again. Marching Fire interactive voice lines. During Marching Fire, the developers were experimenting with some new voice lines and voice actors to replace the old ones. And frankly, they sounded horrible. But they also tried adding interactive voice lines where your character would say something depending on the situation and who he was fighting. And you can still see glimmers of this feature on recent heroes. Baby-proofed maps. Maps used to have a lot more ledges and hazards back then. And when most of these got removed, the term baby-proofed became quite popular for a while. The Volcano. Very old meme encouraged by Marco Yolo where all the knights would put all their troops on Mount Ignis and then proceed to lose the faction war. Clutchmeister allegations. One of the top For Honor competitive players of back then got cheating allegations, which, to be fair, isn't surprising considering the nature of competitive For Honor. Old Breach. Some years ago, Breach used to play very differently. Most notably, your team as attackers would have limited respawns from the get-go, and all NPCs used to have more health and damage. A very good example would be the fact that officers used to have 40 damage heavies, and I'm pretty sure the commander would have an 80 damage ultimate. So yeah, pretty crazy. The Orochi Rap, an ancient lost media video that I can't play because the guy that made it deleted his channel. Fourth layer. Rare niche facts that are either forgotten or extremely hard to find naturally. Assassin's Creed is canon. A lot of people don't know this, but Assassin's Creed and For Honor are completely canon to each other. We know this thanks to some mission dialogue from all the way back then. So keep that in mind every time you remember all the crazy fantasy things that happen in For Honor. Hyperborea Helmet. Highlander has the Hyperborea Helmet. It's real and it's goated. The Ram is alive. Sohei gets souls from the Ram, which confirms that it is in fact a living entity akin to officers, guardians, or even players. Lawbringer and Lady Aphrodite. These are some of the best For Honor players you'll ever see, and definitely won't rage quit your match after one death. r/For Honor Rule 34. A subreddit that existed for a while, then got removed, then came back, then got removed again due to lack of moderation. Yeah. The Rapist. The fake Wulin hero. Ling Dao is a fake Wulin character made by Headless Man, which for a while people thought was real. Knights used to be Christian. At one point, they used to be, but sometime after, the studio got woke and decided to make them worship a vague, unknown god for some reason. Wulin hand cannon execution. Right before Pirate, we got to see an image on the For Honor menu of a unique execution for the Wulin. This image showed a Tiandi holding a pistol. Strangely enough, we never got to see it. Layer 5. The Depths. Story mode body swaps. During the one-day body swap event, you could actually go to the story mode and the body swap would still apply, so you'd get videos like this. The White Demon Centurion For Honor. A real video made by Yuriv, which, to be fair, he just didn't know. Ranked Tribute. Ranked Tribute. Law Nobi. A real For Honor character that you can still see on nights of full moon. Centurion is holding a shield. An old Go-Go Danny video points out that Centurion, animation-wise, was very likely to be holding a shield at some point. but this concept got likely removed due to some problem. They probably were halfway through making Centurion when they realized that a massive scutum just wouldn't work for some reason, which is probably why Centurion is only holding a sword at this point, which is pretty strange if you think about it. The full Highlander moveset. So as of recently, we're pretty lucky to have a full doc on Highlander's deck list. It's a lot of pages, and even some of the information on the doc itself seems to be rather obscure. Playable Water Buffalo. A Reddit post that got quite popular depicting a warden in the skin of a water buffalo playing the minion. Female Glad is male. If you zoom inside a female gladiator, the truth will be revealed to you. Layer 6. The Abyss. For Honor High School. An old Bible full of ancient esoteric knowledge. Warlord denazified. Warlord used to have the black sun imagery in a few of his ornaments. This was, of course, changed, however, Highlander got to keep the Hyperborea helmet, so, you know, another W. Minion player character. Surprisingly, the meme is actually real. Here's some in-game primordial footage of a minion being playable. The gore textures are real. The gore textures were actually created with the bodies of developers that didn't comply with Ubisoft's DEI rule set. Raven Knight feet. The last thing you'd want on your YouTube feed is some feet fungus, but as it turns out, that might be what you get. The Ron sightings. A mythical creature, much like Law Nobi, but even more legendary. Those who get ledged by him have their souls trapped inside a level 3 bot and are imprisoned in the game forever. The Ghost of Kazan Castle. Again. Many know of the Ghost of Kazan Castle, but when JC was personally asked about this, he answered that the Ghost of Kazan Castle was actually his dead brother Davis, and any attempt to remove him or patch him out of the game would end in failure, and the developers that tried doing so were then found dead in their sleep days later. And with that, your eyes have opened. Share this video with somebody to enlighten them as well. This has been the For Honor Iceberg. That is all. Goodbye.